Hi, welcome sa episode 8 of the Basta Bitcoin podcast. Dito sa episode 8, we'll talk about something very practical, which is how to save in Bitcoin. If you will recall doon sa last episode, I introduced yung experiment ko sa Silliman University, which is the Bitcoin Savings Program. So it involves 11 students and staff from Silliman who are saving in Bitcoin on a regular basis and hindi sila nagte-trade. So, doon sa result of that 7-month experiment, makikita nyo based on the numbers that they've done reasonably well. So, they have performed 8% better than fiat money. So, whereas yung fiat money has kept on losing value at the rate of inflation, yung savings nila has increased in value by an average of more than 8%. Now, a lot of you, of course, are interested to know how that's done. Kaya naman for this particular episode, we'll do something very similar in a more convenient and easier way. Let me just try to highlight that this is an experiment in the same way na yung Bitcoin Savings Program is an experiment. It's an experiment to test the power of Bitcoin as a store of value. So let me just emphasize na I'm not trying to urge anyone to follow this experiment, but if you're interested in doing this experiment, this is how to do it. So yung first step is to download an application called Pouch. Pouch is a Bitcoin company and it's BSP registered. So they are licensed to operate here in the Philippines. I like Pouch precisely because it's a Bitcoin-centric company. If you're going to buy Bitcoin from other platforms, makikita nyo they sell so many other cryptocurrencies. And, it promotes a culture of gambling and it's not really appropriate or fit for the program that we're trying to develop, which is yung culture of savings among Filipinos or among peoples all over the world. The beauty of Bitcoin is that because it is, a perfect store of value, really, you now have a form of money na pwedeng gamitin ng mga tao all over the world for savings. And, as I've said in previous episodes, the problem with the current monetary system is nahiwalay yung payments function, which is the medium of exchange function, doon sa store of value function. And Bitcoin fixes that particular problem by doing both. And this particular experiment focuses on the store of value function of Bitcoin. So step number 1 is to download Pouch. So if you are familiar with Gcash or Maya, if you're familiar with QR codes, for example, then you wouldn't have any problems with Pouch because Pouch is para siyang Gcash pero wala yung advertisements and it's a platform that makes it really easy for you as much as possible to buy Bitcoin. So that's step 1. So download Pouch and then you need to register in the same way that you register if you download Gcash or Maya. The second step is to determine how much you want to save in Bitcoin. Again, I would just like to highlight that this is an experiment, and if you want to do this experiment, you need to be as conservative as possible. How much should you save? It really depends on you, but I'd recommend, on a monthly basis, anywhere between 200 pesos and 5,000 pesos. So, depending on your capacity to save, depending on your salary grade, then I'd say be as conservative as possible. Anyway, Bitcoin is not going away. My goal here is to make people to have skin in the game, to have a personal feeling of or personal experience of the power of Bitcoin as a store of value. Iba kasi kung yung nakikita mo lang yung iba saving in Bitcoin compared with you yourself saving in Bitcoin. So that way you become part of the ecosystem, and that way you get to understand with feelings yung sinasabi ng Bitcoin whenever they say fix the money, fix the world. And at the core of that particular mission of fixing the money to fix the world is really solving a civilizational problem called inflation. So now that you have decided for yourself kung magkano yung isa-save mo in Bitcoin, whether it's 200 pesos or 500 pesos or 1,000 or 5,000 pesos a month, you need to commit to doing it over a span of at least 1 year. Ideally, it has to be done over 3 years. But, if you're trying to do an experiment with respect to the store of value function of a form of money, the only way to do it really is by doing it in a disciplined way, in small but equal amounts over a long enough period of time. So you need to do this over a course of 1 year up to 3 years para makita mo talaga yung power ng Bitcoin as a store of value. And why equal amounts? Para you don't need to log yung value na sinesave mo. If you're saving in 1,000 pesos a month by 1 year, you will have saved 12,000 pesos. And dun sa Bitcoin wallet mo, if you're buying Bitcoin at the rate of 1,000 pesos a month, makikita mo yung difference between the fiat value and the current fiat value of your Bitcoin. So that's the only way for you to test yung store of value function ng Bitcoin. So that means na kung tumaas ng 50% yung value ng Bitcoin mo, so you will have something like 18,000 pesos instead of 12,000 pesos. And that's the core of that experiment. And you need to do this on a regular basis para you're able to avoid yung trap na nalalaglagan ng karamihan who are new to this space, which is they end up trading. No? Dahil nakikita nila yung volatility, ang tingin nila that's an opportunity to trade. But the way to do it, the way serious Bitcoiners do it is simply by buying and holding, treating Bitcoin as a form of money. If you want to spend your Bitcoin, then you spend by converting it to fiat. But if you really just want to save, then you just buy and hold para makita mo talaga yung performance ng Bitcoin as a store of value. So again, the 3 basic steps is download Pouch, the wallet. Number 2, determine the amount of Bitcoin that you want to buy on a regular basis, and then do it for a long enough period of time. And that way, you're able to do the experiment yourself. Or if you don't want to do the experiment, just follow what yung 11 members of the Bitcoin Savings Program are doing. So why are Bitcoiners like myself so confident na if you do this over a long enough period of time, then you will be able to avoid the ravages of inflation? Well, the short answer is that as yung fiat money gets printed by governments, gets debased and inflated away, Bitcoin stays as a stable monetary system. Yung 21 million Bitcoins na yon is unique because that's digitally scarce and there's no power in the world that can tamper with that monetary guarantee. Kaya ganun lang kasimple yung comparison, yung isang form of money, the fiat monetary system, is designed to be debased, whereas this newer form of money, Bitcoin, is designed to avoid debasement. So yun lang, yung experiment that I'm introducing you to, which is something similar to the Bitcoin Savings Program. In a separate episode, I'll teach you how to save in Bitcoin in a self-custodial manner. So, magle-level up tayo. So, ang ginagawa natin dito is slowly, I'm trying to introduce you to the entire ecosystem. Now, you have some basic understanding of Bitcoin. And This particular episode, I'm introducing you to a Bitcoin platform. Now you can do the experiment yourself. And again, let me emphasize na if you start saving in Bitcoin, you need to do it in a very conservative way. Try to avoid yung temptation to trade because essentially that's gambling, that's speculating, and focus on the power of Bitcoin as a store of value because once you understand that particular characteristic of Bitcoin, then you're on your way to becoming a serious Bitcoiner. By the way, in case you find the contents of this podcast interesting, or if you're interested in doing a deeper dive into the history of money or the Bitcoin monetary network, you might want to check out the books I have written. They're available locally and internationally. Locally through my website and internationally on Amazon.com. Thank you.